Hi, I'm Emma. I'm 19 years old, and I just hate sitting at home. Do you like to travel? To a neighboring city or maybe to other countries? To the jungle or the desert? I just love it. But I didn't know what kind of danger extreme tourism hides. Watch this video to the end and find out how my love for tourism drove me crazy. I used to stay at home all the time. My parents worked all year round and they didn't have time to take me on vacation. But as soon as I came of age, the world opened all the borders for me. I've been everywhere. China, India, England, Russia, France, Africa. I can't list all of them at once. And of course, I shared photos and stories on my social networks. Well, who doesn't? I tried to explain to people why they should take a break from their work and see the world. I said, hey, stop sitting at home. But people didn't believe me. You can't just go on a trip around the world. However, there were also those who shared my interests. So be it. I'll tell you a secret. I didn't make my own travel plans. And why? There are professionals for this. But still, I had one obligatory item: to try the local cuisine. But it was always difficult for stay-at-home people to understand us travelers. The extreme tourists didn't like us very much. They kept laughing at us and recording offensive messages. Have you ever met people who think they are the only true fans and despise the rest? They'd been making my life hell. But one day, one of them, a guy named Zach, challenged me to pass the Ancestral Road in one of the national parks of North America. Don't get me wrong, I could have refused, but he promised to give me the honorary title of a member of the travel club, of which he was conveniently a vice president. When you are a member of the club, no one has the right to encroach on your status as a traveler. Anyway, not a bad answer to haters, and an excuse to meet Zach in person. The internet suggested that the Ancestral Road was just a path of several kilometers, which boys went to become men. I don't know how it used to be, but it doesn't take that long these days, so I accepted the challenge. Unfortunately, none of my tour operators were able to travel along the Ancestral Road. So I had to buy a ticket to the national park Zach was talking about and try to find guides from a local travel agency. However, this travel agency had never heard of any Ancestral Road. But this was the national park Zach had been talking about. I was about to film the exposure of the cheater Zach when suddenly a man came up to me. He asked me, "Are you looking for the Ancestral Road?" This man immediately seemed very suspicious to me, but he said that he would only take payment after the trip, and I agreed. We went on the road on a quad bike. I insisted on it. We had been driving for a couple of hours when my guide stopped abruptly. He came up to me and said bluntly, "The two of us will not go further. There is not enough fuel. We will have to walk." I reasoned that we had spent a little more than half to get here together, which meant that one of us would need a little less fuel to get back alone. The guide did not agree, but I demanded, "Go back for fuel. I will wait for you here and then come back and finish the trip. I won't walk." The guide tried to persuade me to finish the trip on foot, or refuse, or drive back together. But I took his pleas on camera and threatened to post it online and leave him without payment. The guide spat, ordered me to stay where I was, and drove off. All alone, in the middle of the woods. Yeah. I took out my smartphone. There was no connection. I could only wait. And then, suddenly, I realized that someone was there. I cringed and held my breath as I remembered Zach's advice in one of the videos and prepared for the worst. Suddenly, a little squirrel jumped out of the bushes into the clearing. I relaxed, but in vain. The squirrel rushed to attack. Have you ever realized that you are in the wrong place? I definitely did not belong in the forest, in a battle with a maniac squirrel. It started lunging at me, biting my ankles above my shoes. I panicked, tried to fight back, but soon lost my composure and ran in fear. This monster chased me until I threw a bag of nuts at it with all my strength. And then I realized that the earth was slipping away from under my feet. I fell down, hit my head, and passed out. I came to my senses when I felt heavy drops fall on my face. Drip, drip, drip. And how come only for a minute the clear sky was covered with dark clouds? Or not a minute has passed? And then I heard a voice say, "Get up, we must find shelter, quickly." I climbed out of the hole, and the voice said to me, "Go to that tree and hide in the roots, quickly." I did as the voice said, and then I shouted, "Where are you?" And then I heard the answer, "In your pocket." I pulled out my phone and suddenly saw Zach. He looked at me with his trademark reassuring smile. I burst into tears of happiness. I passed out several times during the night, but Zach woke me up in the morning and told me to get ready for the road. Zach told me where to go, and I followed. I had given my nuts to the squirrel, but Zach told me which berries I could eat and which I couldn't. I was still in pain, but Zach demanded, "Go!" Step by step, kilometer by kilometer. Zach taught me how to make fire by friction, and to find and make drinking water, and how to roast acorns properly. A few days later, I came to the river. I was so tired that I couldn't move. Zach begged me to keep going, not to give up, and I found the strength to walk again. I walked, fell, rose, and went on. At the bridge, I turned right and immediately ran into the patrol of hunters. I came to myself in the hospital with severe exhaustion, concussion, and a sprained ankle. It turned out that I spent 9 days in the forest. I asked for my smartphone, but it was smashed to pieces. Zach left me. And as it turned out, not for long. Zach came into the room. The real one, in the flesh. It turned out that he had made up a story about the ancestral path, and then disguised himself as a guide. He just wanted to show me what real tourism meant, with all the romance of the forest and survival, but he didn't expect me to be so adamant. When Zach realized that it wouldn't work, he gave in to my persuasions and left, but when he came back, he didn't find me where he left me. All this time, Zach was looking for me, burning with guilt. And I survived with his advice, as if he were there for me. But I've already made up my mind. We'll go camping with Zach, and I'll become a full member of the travel club. But first, I'll just take a rest in a more familiar way. Have you had any cases when your mind went beyond the boundaries of normal? Tell us about them. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so that you don't miss new stories.